Welcome back to Coaching Journey 1. Just want to say thank you to everybody again who's left comments and sent us questions on some of our social media platforms. It's great to get some form of interaction with yous out there and good to see that you're actually watching the videos. Please don't forget to press the like button. You know, it's a big thing for us. It's good for the channel, but it shows that you're supporting what we're doing. If you haven't yet subscribed and you're watching it, just make sure that you subscribe and press that notification so you don't miss any of our videos. On to week 6. So let's have a look at the game review of Middlesbrough. So for the ones who watched last week's video, you'll understand what this slide's about. So this just gives you an idea of what our structure is, mostly around in and out of possession. So we were setting up in a 4-3-3. We're looking to move into a 3-4-3 or a 2-3-2-3, depending on how Middlesbrough set up or what personnel we had on the pitch. So looking at the team identity and targets. So if we're looking at defensive transition, we set them a target at 60% plus to regain within 3 passes, and we hit 77. Very, very good in defensive transition yet again. So really quick at finding our mark and really good at winning our 1v1 duels. Looking at defensive organisation, 60% target again, looking to win the ball in the top 2/3, so trying not to be in a low block if we can, and we hit 80%. So really good again at our high press and being compact in that mid block as well. So really good from the team when we're looking at the defensive side of the game. So looking at the attacking side, looking at attacking transition first. So we're just underneath our 60% mark. But for the ones who've been watching the video, we are tweaking this and playing with this. So we usually have a second pass completion, but we moved it to a third pass completion to try get the players to get control of the game, so it wasn't in the transition as much. So it's really hard to hit the 60% target here. So we're just underneath. But over the next week or so, we have changed this and we put the target a little bit higher. So the first time that we've actually put a target to the attacking organisation, and we're purely only focused on the connection work. So the 3 connections on the pitch. And we hit 68%. So really good from the players. And we knew that we was hitting this target without actually giving the team it. So we knew we were doing all right in this area. What we will do is we will start to go into a little bit more depth around the connection work and what we want to see and how we get the players to analyse the self. So overall, for us, we imposed our identity on the opposition and played really, really well from start to finish. So really pleased for the players to hit these targets. What we are going to start to do is over the next couple of weeks, we're going to start to stretch the players. So we're going to put the targets up and then we're going to really stretch them with different systems and play players in different positions as well. So you'll probably start to see us over the next couple of weeks not hitting the target, which then gives us more performance problems. But that's great for us and it's great for the team because we want to be all rounded, you know, come January, February. So looking at the performance review, the ones who watched the video last week will be familiar with this setup. If you're not familiar with this setup, all we're going to do in this part of the video is just look at some of the things that we did well and some performance problems that came up in the game. So the first thing that we're going to look at is the systems of play. We were operating out of a 4-3-3 and Middlesbrough were working out of a 4-2-3-1 for most of the game. As the game went on, Middlesbrough adapted and went to a 1 and a 2 as they were trying to get more bodies on our defensive line. All we did was just adjust our midfield dynamics. But overall, when you're looking at the targets before, we found the mark and changed the mark really well in the transition, and we were good, or we were really organised in the defensive organisation as well. So we were happy with this side of the game. So looking at the attacking organisation, Middlesbrough didn't really come out in high presses. They worked out of a medium block for most of the game. Really organised, trying to fill 3 or 4 nearest channels to the ball. What this did, though, it allowed us to get control with the 2 centre-backs and the keeper. What we were looking at then is how can we get through Middlesbrough? One of the things that me and the coaches were talking about was getting the 4 to drop onto the defensive line. So instead of getting the 4 to drop between the 2 centre-backs, we asked him to drop beside the centre-backs. What we were trying to achieve was to get their cam to step out and try to flatten out their front line, which then give us space between. One of the conditions is the attacking midfield on the same side as the 4 dropped into that 4 role. And this gives us 2 things. So if the midfielder doesn't go with the 10, we can play beyond this line and then get on the turn in here. If the player goes with him, or we're looking to exploit this side of the pitch, there's a couple of ways of doing it. So the 4 can fix the wide forward and play in a 3, so you've got the 2v1, and then go and overload the back line. Or we could get the 11 to roll in and the full-back go beyond. So you could play into the 11's feet if the full-back didn't track him, or we could look to go beyond the full-back. So there was the things that we came up with to try get through the Middlesbrough block. So looking at defensive organisation, so again, looking at the stats, we did really well in this area of the game. We're organised, we set up good traps, we won the ball high up the pitch. The left centre-back was a good player. He was left-footed as well, so it was really important that we cut out this pass here. Now, one thing that you can come up against if you've got a lefty and you show them inside is they can clip this one here into this area. So something that we had to be aware of early doors. So looking at one of the performance problems, left centre-back was good at travelling with the ball at times. So if this 7 couldn't get there and win the ball or force them backwards or inside, the left centre-back would fix the space and step in, which take the 7 press out. And this was just a couple of times where it happened. So for us, it's a performance problem if it keeps happening. What we said, or the information that we give to the players, is just drop and see if our 7 can track with them. If they did break a line, then we had to make a decision of changing the mark from the 8, but making sure that they don't play to the midfield. So just showing you here, if they played wide, then we asked our midfielder to change the mark and our 7 to recover on the inside. So looking at the keynotes here, defensive line drop, delay and deny. So drop in because they've come through, there's no pressure on the ball. So don't go on the front foot because they'll pick you off. The 8 changes the mark when they feel that they're in a dangerous position. And the 7 sprint recovery on the inside. And then the 9 comes across to lock it in. Anybody who watched last week's video, you'll have seen that we designed a technical practice around this performance problem. One of the other performance problems was when they did play inside, the midfielders were bright and clever to spin the ball around the corner and then go and get the next one. So some of the things that we spoke to the players about in this scenario was to make sure that they get the body across. So when the player comes in and spins it round the corner, can they get across their running line and block them? If they do get took out of the game, it might have to be a clever foul. So just little things to stop them getting momentum. So looking at week 6, so session 1, we're looking at creating the attack. Practice 1 is a technical practice looking at crossing and finishing. And then we moved into 11v11 games, something that we like to do quite a lot. Just putting the team in 4 different parts of the game, just to see if the players and the team are getting what we want or what we want to see. Session 2 is a UEFA mentor practice. So for me, I've got a mentor who comes in and watches sessions and helps me through all my qualifications and so on. So my mentor was in for the first time this season. We was working a little bit on creating the attack and finishing the attack. So you'll see some of the stuff from session 1 leading into session 2. We started off with a phase of play, then went into 11v11 game. Pre-match practice, so we're looking at set plays again, where we've added an extra variation, and then just into one of the SSG games. And then we'll have a look at the game identity / game plan and how we've upped the targets for this game. So session 1, creating and finishing the attack. So we're looking at attacking 3 vital areas. We're using half a pitch. Practice duration was 30 minutes and the practice load was low, so we doubled up in areas. So we could just really work on the fine detail of what we wanted from each player in each position. We worked for 4 minutes and rest for 1, and we did it 6 times. So we're looking at some of the practice outcomes. We're looking at like the scanning, moving, receiving, and releasing skills. So in here, just to show you, I'll play it a second. So the 7 will deliver 3 crosses. On the first cross, they'll receive it and then look to play the front post. This is our central forwards. So they're looking to go off the back of the mannequin and attack the front post. Making sure that they keep an eye on the crosser of when they're about to deliver it and then trying to get that timing right where they get across. The 7 comes back into play, receives the second ball, opens up, and then looks to deliver towards the back post for our advanced wide forward or fullback joining in. And then the third cross, the 7 receives the ball. So again, that little movement, receives the ball, travels towards the gate, and then pulls it back for a late midfielder arriving into the box. And then all we do is we get the fullback to do the same movements and the same crosses, and then these rotate in here. But within this practice, we're just looking at the fine detail. So we had one coach working with the crossers, so on the technique and the type of cross that we're looking to do, where we want them to deliver it. And then I was working with these 3 players around like body shape, when to sprint, and the areas to target. And then you're looking at the clean connections on the ball. So we progressed it so that we do the same one. So the 11 receives the ball, but now they've got multiple options. So the 9 attacks the front, the 7 attacks the back post, and then the midfielder attacks the edge. So they're working together now. And that's how we progress the session. So real simple practice, but you can get a lot of detail from it. And you'll see within our game plan that we're encouraging 3 players to attack the box whenever we're getting into a crossing area. So moving on to the 11v11 game, anybody who's been watching the journey so far, you'll understand that we love this drill. We love it. It tells us a lot about the team and where they're at. So we work over 30 minutes and we do 3 8-minute games with 2 minutes rest. That depends on how much of a workload that we want to get in. So the first game, we're going to build and get out. The opposition have got 10 players in our half, so it's 11v10. They're not allowed to drop below the halfway line. So all we're trying to do is find the free player and then look to break the lines. And we wouldn't be coaching in this. We'd just be analysing the team and seeing how they adapt and how they adjust to what the red team are doing. If we break that line, Reds will then get a ball and then they'll look to attack our goal. So now we're looking at a medium to low block. So how are we dealing with what the Reds are offering? If we win it, we attack again. So just play for 8 minutes in this half a pitch. And again, we're not coaching on this. It's not our main topic. We might drip feed a couple of little things to the individual. But all we're doing in here is just seeing if the players have been taking some of the stuff on board that we've been working on over the last 5 to 6 weeks. After 8 minutes, we move into the opposite half. So now we're going to be working on the high press. So what does that look like? Are the team setting up without us giving them any information? And then we'll also work on creating and finishing the attack. So that's where we'll do most of our coaching. So when we get the ball wide, we're looking at them 3 players to get into the box and attack the vital areas. What does it look like behind the ball when we're crossing it? But something that I'll go into more in session 2. And then the last 8 minutes, it's 11v11 game, but we're starting with throw-ins. So just some little key points that we can show them how to get out. In this scenario here, our 11's a player to get out, so the swap with a 4. The throwing goes into space. 7 and 2 are nice and wide. And then we look to attack down the opposite side. But something that we like to do quite a lot of the time, and if we could do it every week, we would. But sometimes it's not easy to get 22 players on a pitch. So session 2, UEFA mentor session. So what I was working on is creating and finishing the attack with my mentor supporting us and giving us some ideas and challenging us around certain things of the game. So the team targets over to right hand side is shape, support, speed, supply. So we're asking the team when we've got control is fill all 5 channels within 3 seconds. Movements beyond, beside, below. Speed of play, so moving it quickly. See it, do it early. And supply, quality of pass, cross and finish. So if you're looking at the area here, so I started off with a phase of play, which is the blue area. Got one of the coaches to have 10 players and work on a low block. All they needed to do was dribble across the halfway line to get a point. One of the other coaches was working around the individuals, looking at like individual movements, so winning the back of the opposition and also looking after the subs. And then we had someone else working with the spare players in the green area. So that was a setup of the practice. We then moved on to 11v11. And we had 2 starting points. So we started from attacking corners and attacking throw-ins, just some things that we needed to work on. So yes, we're working on creating and finishing the attack, but something that I felt that we could bring out of the session as well was some attacking corners and attacking throw-ins. So just to show you some of the... So 3 ways to get through the opposition when we're looking at creating the attack. We're playing through, playing around, playing over. So first one we're going to look at is playing through. So the opposition are nice and compact. So what we're looking to do is stretch the opposition. So by playing into one of the wide channels and then look to get it across the pitch quickly. Once we get into these areas here, we're asking our 8 and 10 to play in the half space or inside channel. Can the 9 keep the 2 centre-backs occupied? If we do see the opportunity to step in as a centre-back or play that ball, go and take the space, fix the space. The first thing we're looking at is play. So we're playing up and then we're looking to turn and then play through. Real simple way of getting through. The second thing is up, back and through. So if we see an opportunity to play into the 9, can we play into the 9 and link off him? And then as soon as they set that ball, we're looking to get runners beyond. So that up, back and through. And then vital areas when we get into the box. So we're playing through. If we can't go through, then we're looking to go around. So trying to get the opposition down one side and then exploit the weak side quickly. And this is all down to being brave at holding your position. So what we said to the 7-11 and the two attacking midfielders is, can you hold the opposite side of the pitch? Some of the detail that we give to the 7-11 is try to be in line with the deepest defender. Now, what you'll see sometimes is the full-back usually gets drawn to the ball a little bit, and a centre-back might give a little bit more space because they're worried about the one over the top. So can our full-back get in line with the deepest defender? Less distance to go and attack the goal. So keep an eye on the defensive line and the ball at all times. So now we're circulating the ball across the centre-backs. This could be through midfield or centre-backs. Once we do get the ball wide, we're looking for early crosses into the box, 1v1s and 2v1s. So can the fullback go and join in, or is a 10 going to go and join in? So we're looking at that half space as well. So just a couple of things in there that we want the fullbacks to think about. If they can go and join in. If they can't, then support from behind. And then the last one, just looking to play over. So if they're really organised and disciplined and we're struggling to get through, then can we cause problems for this back line? So whenever we get an open touch, can we have runners beyond? And we might just play the little dink pass over the top and cause mayhem. Even if we do play that one over the top and the centre-backs drop and head it, they're not going to get a clean header. So can we go and get the seconds? Again, the ball might be here and it might be an open touch. And we're looking for them runs beyond. So looking at some of the crossing areas to target. So going back to that crossing and finishing in drill that we did the night before. So minimum of 3 players attacking the box. Open touch, area 1, can 9 get across the front post? Go and get yourself half a point, that we call it. Area 2, can we attack the back post? Area 3, someone arriving in around the edge. And then behind the ball, to stay on the front foot and keep the opposition pinned in. So can we replicate something like this whenever we're getting into a crossing zone? So on to session 3, pre-match practice. I'm not going to spend long on the attacking set plays because this is the same video as last week. What we have done is we've introduced a variation 2 to help the team when we're up against a man-to-man system. So I'll just let this play. But for the ones who haven't seen it, we have cones set up as starting points, and then we have mats for arriving areas. And it's just a short corner with multiple options on every pass. But I'll go into a little bit more depth in the game plan around the 2 corner setups. So on to practice 2. So just a small-sided game with conditions, 4 mini games. We're going to work for 32 minutes. It's a high practice load. Each game's going to be 6 minutes. We're going to rest for 2. It's a medium to large area, and we're looking at 6v6. The 4 mini games. The first mini game, it's unlimited touches, but they get a bonus point for a 1-touch finish. And then we're just looking at the individual process. If you're looking down here to the left, so we're looking at the scanning skills, the movements of where they're supporting, the body shape to progress, receiving skills, open or closed. But we're encouraging them to try get an open body shape to get a shot off or find somebody who can shoot. And then you're looking at the releasing skills, so pass, cross, or finish. The second game is one touch. So one touch play. So we're trying to encourage that like quick thinking, seeing the next pass, quick supporting angles. The players did really well at this, which I was surprised. It was the first time that we've done it this year. And it's really, really difficult, but it's good to see how the team's set up. That they still keep playing short, that they look to hit the furthest man. But for me, it's a great little challenge for the players to play one touch. The player who wins the ball is on unlimited touches. So if the white wins the ball off the 6, that player is initially on unlimited touches. We allow the keepers to have 3 touches, so we can use them as a safety net. Then game 3 is 1 or 3 touches. Again, just getting them to think about what they're doing. So trying to get used to what's going on around them. So when the ball's coming in, do they understand when to play 1 touch, when to play 3 touches? And they can't play 2, and they can't play more than 3. Otherwise, it's an indirect free kick. And they've got 3 seconds to get that ball down and play. But it just shows us as coaches, without actually coaching, that which players are thinking and scanning and seeing the next step before it gets there. So you as a coach can see when a player should be playing 1 touch and when they should be having multiple touches. If they haven't recognised to play the 1 touch under pressure, what skills are they using to exit out within 3? So trying to get away from the danger. And game 4 is just going back to unlimited touches with a bonus point of a 1 touch finish. So just looking at the game plan now against Hull City, very similar to the last few games. Over the next couple of weeks, we'll start to tweak this a little bit and look at different systems to make sure that we're adaptable. For us, it's not about now, it's about after Christmas. So our own little target for this year is to try be more adaptable, be fluid in different systems, and have players be able to play in different positions come January. So for now, we're just sticking with a 4-3-3 that we've used over the last few games. This moves into a 3-4-3, 2-3-2-3, depending on personnel or what we're playing against. So this hasn't changed too much. There's just a couple of things that we still need to iron out around some of the detail. So team identity and targets. Main target is to impose our identity in the 4 moments of the game. Defensive transition. Language is press. So nearest players apply quick pressure. 1, 2, or 3 player led. The percentage is 70 plus. So we're looking to regain the ball back within 3 passes 70% of the time. If we can't do that, we stop momentum. So now we're starting to up the percentage now from 60% to 70%. Defensive organisation, compact vertically and horizontally, 44 metres by 40. And then again, 70% plus. We're looking to regain the ball back in the top 2/3. Attacking transition, available, behind, between and below. And then now we've changed it back to the second pass completion. So we're looking at that 70% plus again. And then attacking organisation, language is connect. So we're looking at 3 connections on the pitch, 70%. So we're looking at 3 seconds to get connected, only allowing 1 player to be out the shape. And I said it earlier in the video, we're going to go into a bit more depth about this, just to give you an idea of what it looks like, how we put this across to the players. And there is a week where we have 2 sessions where we work on the connections, but we're also still trying to work with the players on their self-analysis. Now, once we've got that right, we will then go through it with you as coaches and show you what it looks like. But overall, for the team targets, main thing to sort of take away from this is that the percentage has gone from 60% to 70% now. Still not where we want to be, but we're on the right path. So performance plan. So usually before this, we show you videos of what we show the players of all the 4 moments. But we've just took it out because I think anybody who's been watching the journey will be getting used to that now and seeing the videos. Hopefully we'll be able to upload some of the footage that we've got, if not maybe some screenshots just to show you how the team are operating. If you haven't seen them videos yet, make sure you check out the past game plans and you'll be able to check out the videos that we show the players. So on to the performance plan. So we're looking at 2 areas, building the attack and then high press. So the first thing, defensive organisation. So this is just a chart that we show the players. For the people who have been watching the videos, you'll be familiar with this. It's just a reminder for the players about finding the mark and changing the mark. Obviously, there's other stuff that goes on in the game, but the clear focus is when the ball's turned over in a transition or organisation, then do we know actually who our find the mark is? Do we know where we're probably going to change the mark majority of the time? If you want to pause the video and have a read of this, that's fine. For the ones who have seen this a few times now, we'll move on. So just looking at the high press, down the right-hand side, we've got the roles and responsibilities, what we're looking to do, and then we've got the video in here. So just a couple of things that we want to talk about. So everybody's getting used to what our press looks like at the moment, and we have been successful. But the reason why we haven't moved on is because there's a couple of things that we need to get right with the team, and just some detail that we feel it'll help the players when they get older. So just to give you a scenario here, so we forced the player down the left-hand side, which we wanted to do. Our 7's about to change the mark, and then our fullback's about to change the mark. So just looking at this picture. So the trigger for the fullback is a link pass. If it's a direct pass, we want them to stay there. But our fullbacks are still, not all the time, but are still jump pressing. So they're changing the mark here, and sometimes the direct pass is going in. Now, the issue that we've got, they actually have been successful on some of them. But us as coaches know that in a year or two, that this pass will be quicker, all right, and cleaner. So they won't have an opportunity to get there, which then might leave us 3v3 on our defensive line. So we're just trying to talk to the fullbacks around when they should go and when they shouldn't. Like I say, it's a difficult one because we actually have been successful at it, but it's not about now. It's about the next couple of years where we know that realistically that they'll be took out of the game. And they probably will do this year when they're playing against like some of the teams who are a bit physically stronger and can play that pass a little bit quicker. Second thing is just making sure that this back 3 come around quickly and the keeper's positioning's right. And then some of the detail around the pressing on the inside shoulder is some of the stuff that we need to get right before we start to move on. So this is why I sort of wanted to just leave this in and then just show you some of the things that we need to get right before and start to look at different ways of pressing the opposition. But it is something in the next couple of weeks that we do want to move on and show the players a different way. So just looking at building the attack, as you can see, the screen at the back's gone to a dark background now. Reason for that is we just wanted to drop in the game plan that we show our players. So at the moment, because of the pandemic, we're putting everything onto iPads and uploading stuff to the team for them to have a look. So I just wanted to actually just drop in what this looked like and what we show the players. Now, we had an opportunity to see a couple of Hull's games. So previous fixtures that we'd played against them and just we saw some footage of other games. So we knew how Hull was going to set up, especially when we were building from the keeper. So Hull would keep the full-backs nice and wide, so locked onto our 7-11. 2 centre-backs would deal with a 9. They played with the 2 holding midfielders. They had the 10 who just operated in this line, sometimes zonal, sometimes man-to-man. And then the central forward would shift over onto one side, so occupy one centre-back. And then the left forward would come in and try to deal with these 2 players here, so centre-back and full-back. And then they jumped from their fullback position. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to be a little bit lopsided. So down the left-hand side, we wanted to keep our fullback in an advanced position. We asked our midfielder to try and move the marker to the left-hand side of the pitch. Left centre-back in a traditional position. Then our right centre-back comes in between the central forward and the left forward, just to see if he can draw this player in. So if this player gets drawn to our centre-back, then we'll just play to our right-back and then get it into our 7, so in a 1v1 duel. If he gets occupied by the right-back, then we'll play into our centre-back and just go straight through the lines. So this was the idea behind our structure. So it's what we've been doing, but it's just we've got one high on one side and one low on the other. Again, just to show you here. So the initial pass was to play to the left centre half to draw in the press and then to go straight back to the keeper. What that does is that shifts all Hull to one side of the pitch. So this left back wanted to jump press the full back, but he's not there. So what we wanted to try to do is get the left back to think about, right, I've got to slide across, and then we come back and exploit this side. So you can see the picture. So some of the stuff that we spoke to the keeper about was just making sure that he could see which player which was spare. So when the ball comes in, takes a touch onto his favourite foot because he's right-footed, and then he decides which is the right pass. Not being afraid to play this longer one either. So if the left back does go right round, 7 can come in here. So if we can play that one in there, fantastic. If not, then we're looking to play to one of these 2. Plays to the full back and the left forward presses, centre half is just given an angle for them to then get out. So hopefully that makes sense. So that was just one of the structures that we wanted to use to try get out and get control of the game. Structure 2. So again, Hull set up in that same shape. Left forward high, right forward high, and then the midfielder is still trying to take their cam to one side of the pitch. This is the scenario that you're looking at. So the left back would jump. He was quite quick. But here we were looking for that same picture. So a player on the inside of the left forward and a player on the outside of the left forward. And then we asked our wide forward to drop deeper and our right centre midfielder to try to pin the fullback. Again, play out to the left, draw the forward in, and then we're looking to come through here. So it's just giving them a different problem. Now, if the first one's working well, we'll keep doing it, and then we'll come to this at half time. So because what you'll find is the opposition will recognise it and then try to fix this at half time. And then if we've got a different solution, then we'll come up with a different way of playing out so that we're not falling into their trap that they've set at half time. So again, it's the same picture, but it's just the fullback sliding in and the right centre-back coming down the side. Now, if the cam stays in between, the keeper's got an option to play into these areas here. So if the cam comes and deals with a fullback, our DM should be free. If they start to jump more players forward, then we're simply just asking the keeper to try clip it onto their defensive line. And that just highlights what we've just spoke about. So onto the attacking corner, and this is version 1 or variation 1. So all we're looking at is the 10 to go short, the 11 to be the link player. So if you're just watching this, so if you'd have seen last week's video, You'll be familiar with this setup. This is a good corner for teams who are set up in zonal or half and half. So the 10 arrives into that area there. So we ask them to get into within 10 yards. So if somebody's tracking them, they can't track them all the way. Then we're looking at the 11 to peel off to the edge last minute. So we're looking at double movements. The link player slides in. Can they get an open body shape? And then this is the pictures that we're looking at. So we can play into the 7, deliver to the back post. And if there is pressure from behind them, they can just play it back to the 10 who can deliver the ball. So again, multiple options for each pass. And then your 9 comes off the keeper, got the 2 at the back post, and we're looking from one of the players at the edge to step in, like come late to try finish first time. So when we did this against Middlesbrough, they were man-to-man. So it was really, really difficult, and it brought down a couple of times. It was expected because it was the first time that we'd done it in a game. So we have got a variation too, which is more for man. So we'll show you that now. So it's the same setup, as you can see, but the link player is the fullback on the halfway line. So they come as late as possible to surprise the opposition. So the 10 goes in towards the edge of the 18 and plays a little bounce pass. So if you're watching, comes in, plays a bounce pass. And then we're looking for our fullback to arrive roughly in that same area. Now, the importance of the pass is so that the fullback can play first time. So the weight of the pass is really important here. This is something that you can work on when you're doing your pattern around this. So the ball gets played in, and then you've got that same picture from the first corner, but with someone coming late from our defensive line. So it's a surprise element, and it's all one touch. So it's harder for a man-to-man team to pick the runners up. And again, if it's a good pass, the 3 can play the 7 in one touch, or they can deliver the ball one touch. So this is our left back, the number 3. So he's left-footed, so he can really whip that ball in. The 10's there again if someone does get out and read it, so that he can release the ball to the 10 to deliver. And then we've still got our security behind the ball with a 4, 8, and 2. And again, this arriving zone could be the 8, the 11, the 4. We're not too fussed, as long as we don't leave too much space on our defensive line. But that's just a very similar corner, but with a different player arriving and with an extra link pass, which was the bounce pass, just to really open up a man-to-man system. So coming next week, week 7. So game 4, we'll do a review of the Hull City game. Now we're a week ahead, so what we can say about the Hull game is their style of play causes quite a lot of problems. So a lot of stuff to run through in the review around performance issues. That sort of led into our week of training to try work with some of the players around some of the performance problems from Hull and Everton. So session 1 is an out of possession practice, and we're going to purely be focusing on the centre-backs IDP, so individual development plans, around some issues that we've seen over a couple of games. Session 2, we're going to start to move on to some of the connection work. Again, some things that we've seen in the game that we need to get better at. So we can start to go into a little bit more depth around this now. And then session 3, we're just going to polish up on some of the connection work and some of the detail that we missed on session 2. Moving into the game plan for Sheffield United. Again, this is a good game plan, because now we can start to look at some of the system changes and how we want to be flexible on the pitch. because of them playing a different system to some of the other teams that we've played. Again, thank you to everybody who's been watching the journey and leaving comments. If you have been using some of the practices or trying to put some of the game model into your own team, let us know your thoughts, how it's going. If it's going bad, you know, what are the issues? Can we help you out with that? Because we've been through all this as coaches before when we're putting it together. If it's going well, what's going well? If you haven't yet liked any of our videos, make sure that you like them. It's great for our channel. It's easy for you to do, but it also shows us your support. So make sure you press that like button. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, make sure you press the subscribe button and then press that notification button so you don't miss any of our future videos. Again, thank you to everybody who's been following the journey, and we'll see you next week.